We had an instantaneously meeting with another friend of mine, Kalin Rangu. It's the name. Was in yes, we are close friends, and
Is it, are we being live streamed right now?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, so I think we can kill the
Wait.
cameras, kill the microphones, and come back at 6 p.m. sharp, and Mitch, I will take it away.
Yep. So, see you.
Waiting for Marcos, yes. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Cybersecurity 2026 NIS2 Accountability and AI Driven SOC Transformation. I must confess that this session provides a structured cross-sector analysis and insight sharing of the regulatory and technological changes that shape the cybersecurity in 2026, with focus on executive accountability, operational resilience, and AI-driven security operation. From the beginning, you must know that whole event will be recorded, and you are allowed to address any questions in chat, and our guest will take your questions and will answer to them at the end. So until then, please allow all the speakers to introduce themselves, and I'll start with Mo, please.
Hi there, Mohammed Salih here, or nicknamed as Mo, passionate cybersecurity enthusiast and with background in martial arts. I'm happy and thank you, Mircea, for inviting me here to discuss about the NIS2 accountability and utilization of AI in the cybersecurity space. As for professional career, I'm leading the Cybersecurity Services Tower for North America, APAC, and Europe. Looking forward for this webinar.
Okay, Marcos.
So I am Marcos Lustosa, Marcos Eduardo Cordeiro Vidal Lustosa. We have this very long name in Brazil. And Brazilian, I have 20 years of IT experience, the last 13 years working with the cybersecurity, and the last 8 years in cybersecurity here in Europe. Now I'm part of Mo team at Stefanini, helping them with this whole AI transformation and SOC-driven AI. So that's my part. Yeah.
Okay, Liviu.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm Liviu Arsene. I've been in the cybersecurity industry alone for, I think, more than 15 years now. I've been doing threat research, threat intelligence, and thought leadership. My work has mostly been focused on understanding malware activity, adversary tradecraft, the threat landscape, and essentially helping translate that threat research and threat intelligence into what I hope to have been actually better security outcomes. Over the years, I've been involved with and actually led some teams and some initiatives across engineering, data science teams, product management, marketing, and comms. And I hope that all of those efforts have been made in a way that hopefully strengthens detection capabilities and build thought leadership around cybersecurity topics.
Don't forget about research. Don't forget about research, because you're involved in research too.
Right. And I'm glad to be sharing the spotlight today with Mo, Marcos, and Mircea, especially with Mo, knowing that you're a black belt now. That means you're fighting cyber crimes, both in cyberspace and physically. So it's nice to know that you got us covered.
Trust that it will be a
no
dynamic.
There are multiple other colleagues here as well, Marcos, who specialize in automatically detecting those threats and improving it through AI and intelligent automation. So, but he's gonna cover that later on. Thank you, Liviu.
Okay, my friends, trust that it will be a really professional, friendly, and in the same time useful and dynamic debate. And the first questions will be, what are the most common misconceptions organizations have about NIS2 compliance? If you want to just to talk between you and share your knowledge with the audience.
Thank you, Mircea. And one of the most common misconceptions when it comes to the landscape of organization within that wants to apply the NIS2 directive is assuming that it is only a technical cybersecurity initiative. Here, NIS2 directive comes in with more than that. It's about leadership. It's about accountability. about organizational resilience that's besides the technical security controls. NIS2 directive places accountability at the management and board level. And there are certain and precise penalties for the board members and for the companies if those laws that are being implemented by the member states are not applied. One of the sweet misconceptions that I am often receiving it from customers, from other companies, is when it comes to the comparing between some certain standards, such as ISO 27001 and NIS2 directive. While some controls can be mapped, there are crucial differences between NIS2 directive and other standards. And one of them relies on the governance obligations about the mandatory incident reporting timelines, and also about the accuracy of the incident report. That's one of the examples. Other examples goes throughout the supply chain resiliency, especially for the third-party vendors, for the third-party providers, for the contractors, and all that element we will go through throughout the webinar. I'm curious, Marcos, what would be your take on that?
Yeah, from my perspective, one of the most common misconceptions that I'm seeing is regarding people thinking they can buy, let's say, certification in a box. It's just a product. Oh, I need to buy a CN, buy some encryption, and install the software, and it's done. When it's much more related to the process itself. So regarding, you take the whole chain of custody, the whole accountability, the whole incident response process, identity management process, and everything else. It's not only just buying the product and make it run. And regarding every company will be treated as the same, but no, this depending case by case, how this will be analyzed by the NIS2 committee regarding the size of the company, the type of the company, which are they inside of the industry.
Yeah, and if I may chip in for a second, you guys had excellent points. So you're right. One of the most common misconceptions that I came across with was that everybody treated it as mainly an IT issue, but it's not really just an IT issue, right? It has to be treated as a business risk that requires oversight, and even accountability and involvement across all teams and departments. But one of the most interesting conversations that I've had was around the fact that some actually believe that the directive only applies to organizations inside the European Union, which, if you're a company, and the fact that they are a company outside the European Union means that they're not affected by the directive, which is not true. Companies providing services to European Union entities may fall actually within the scope of the NIS2 requirements through contracts with EU customers. So even if you're not a EU company, but you're providing services to customers, European customers, you are essentially a third party. You're a service provider to those European customers, and that means that you are contractually obligated by those providers or consumers of your service to adhere to NIS2 framework. So if I'm to summarize everything that we've all agree on is, I'd say that NIS2 isn't just a technical regulation, right? It's essentially a broader shift that brings cybersecurity, governance, supply chain, and organizational resilience together. And just like you guys said, it's not just a certification stamp that you can apply on top of it, right? It's a mindset, it's a process peoples and technologies that need to be bundled together.
Yes, Livio, but what does real NIS2 readiness actually look like in practice, in your opinion, please?
Well, I can tell you what it doesn't look like, right? And it certainly
doesn't look like, yes.
And it certainly doesn't look like a last-minute documentation effort, right? Or a stack of policies prepared for a regulator that comes in every now and again and checks if you're compliant, right? It does not look anything like that. NIS2 readiness actually looks like what I like to think of a well-oiled operational machine, right? Which means everybody across the entire organization, from senior managers to board members to engineering to security teams and legal and comms teams, everybody needs to speak the same coherent language in terms of exposure, right? And a big part of that clarity around roles, responsibilities, and process is that clarity that you need to define as an organization. Essentially figure out who owns what, who's responsible for what kind of process, who's responsible for what kind of documentation. And in a crisis situation, you do not want to be in a situation where the IT team is asking, where are the backups? Or the comms team is wondering who can explain what happened? Or the legal team trying to figure out who's responsible for regulatory compliance, right? So it's not enough to just have that process on paper and show it to a regulator. It's good that you have it documented, but you also need to have that process regularly tested, improved through exercises, through simulations, through tabletop exercises, and so on, so that all these teams across the organization build that muscle memory needed so that they can respond to real world disruption like fast, like in a matter of seconds, and everybody knows what they're accountable for. So, clear processes, defined accountability and responsibilities across teams, and of course, coordinated communication. I think all of this is what NIS2 readiness is all about.
Mo?
Yeah, well, I believe that, Liv, you've nailed it pretty nice. And one of the items, as you mentioned earlier, to see in concrete action within the environment, within the organizational landscape, how that applies specifically. One of them is exactly as you said, a tabletop exercise, where such exercises delivered with the appropriate stakeholders, with the owners, with the people engaged in such activities such as incident response, backup and storage, disaster recovery, business continuity. At the end of such exercises, you can figure out, hey, where went good, where it works with more improvement, with more focus in some effort investment, some quality, some redefine of the process, and through that you will end up with a continuous life cycle of improvement, and that's actually what we want to achieve in having a NIS2 readiness practice.
And if you really want to build up that muscle memory, I will take you up on that practice. And I would actually advise folks to run those simulations, those tabletop exercises, those fire drills in a real world scenario, meaning do it on a Friday afternoon, because nothing spells disaster and coordination and cooperation better than running a live exercise on a Friday afternoon, because that's how you'll know how people react under pressure and under frustration, because, impending weekend and we have to put out a fire. So when you run those simulations, don't run them once.
Yes, Marcos, I would like to ask you something most appropriate to your skills. What are the most impactful real-world use case of AI in SOC environment? If you want to complete our colleagues in the previous question, you are free to go. But just take in consideration the impactful real-world use in SOC.
Yeah, first to start with the previous question regarding the NIS2 readiness. So we'll give you more engineering perspective.
Engineering perspective, yeah. Please.
Because first, okay, you need clear accountability, internal knowledge of stuff. But when you're thinking about the mechanical part of the engineering, like incident response, disaster recovery planning, like the whole triage, training your team is very important, not only regarding the simulations itself, but actually training about security, users about how to open a mail, checking identification, like security awareness of users is really important. Identity management, privilege access management, encryption, vulnerability management programs, endpoint security, integrated security itself is one of the things that is very important these days, and the whole reporting process, because you have timelines that you need to agree with. So you not only need to be ready to regarding anything that can happen, but you need to react quickly. So that's another point. Then you need to be training, and everyone knows exactly what they need to do. So going already to the next question regarding real world, like impactful scenario. So when you are thinking, I will get like, again, my engineering perspective, I have 5 points. Then I can see the AI is very useful in this one. First one that I was listed regarding data enrichment. When you are searching some security event or some incident, something about this, you're not receiving just raw data. So you're already receiving enriched data, then you can analyze way quicker because you have more details about what is working. I'm thinking about the query builder itself. This will make the whole process being quicker because you're not thinking, oh, how I created that regex to find this thing, this information that I want in the sea of logs. No. I just go to the AI, help me to build a query to find this, and this data lake, and they will build it way quicker. So this gives you a quicker response. This helps a lot. I have a triage filter and false positives filter to helping with the alert fatigue. So that's a very common issue in the SOC itself when you have like this high amount of alerts all the time, and the AI help you to reduce this high amount of alerts. AI can help you to quick reporting things. You already have the things formatted in the shape that you want, and you need to deliver to the authorities, to give to the legal department, to give to the stakeholders, and etc. This, you can format this data really quickly. And the whole process, like the documentation about how you do the incident response procedures, how you do the treatment regarding the alerts, how you check like small things, or how I can verify mails, and etc. Building documents to each team, how they need to act and how they need to practice. It's quicker when you have AI helping you to do the things.
Okay,
so I want now to see the other perspective of my colleagues. Yeah,
it's okay. More, please.
Yeah, well, that's very good, Marcos. You've pretty summarized the AI spectrum in the elements of which includes within the intelligent automation framework, which will have the AI in the from natural behavior analytics, and also from a large language model perspective, from web app, pattern recognition, event correlation, and risk-based scoring, to even automated investigation. And for me, Mircea, one of the real-world use cases scenarios in applying AI in the security operations, it comes towards the quality. All the mentioned elements, besides that it decreased the effort and the manual fatigue, it increased heavily the quality and the precision of execution. When you have threats that could be is being right now eliminated automatically through those mechanisms that are applied, as Marcos mentioned, that help in threat reduction, risk reduction within the organization. And much more important, those items we are speaking of, it's 4 or 5 years old already being utilized. Right now, we are looking more towards the whole landscape from a prioritization perspective, especially on the vulnerability management process when it comes to that. When you have vulnerabilities on the endpoints, on the servers, on the applications, and your human effort is limited to that, and you have to integrate the server owners, the endpoint owners, the application owners with the management from each business unit location. This is where such implementation would help to prioritize and add it in a nicely dashboard, which help each executive to take the decision required. it's a nice journey, such implementation. And I know, Marcos, you've been part of some of that, where you integrate end-to-end vulnerability management process augmented with AI.
Liviu?
Yeah.
Okay, Liviu, your perspective, please.
Yeah, well, again, I've spent almost my entire professional career working for security vendors, right? So I can't directly speak from a customer perspective who's had an implementation on something else rather than cybersecurity implementation. But I would say this. I would say that many reputable, leading, best-of-breed security solutions out there that have integrated AI across their platforms have actually reported measurable improvements in SOC performance, right, when using security solutions augmented with AI. And their data often points to clear operational gains, especially in areas like detection and response efficiency or efficacy. And you don't have to take my word for it. There's a lot of industry reports out there from security vendors and also independent security analysts, which show that AI significantly reduces mean time to detect. It can significantly reduce mean time to respond, sometimes from hours down to minutes, right? And that is a significant burden to take off a SOC analyst's time, especially when we all know that SOC analysts can spend anywhere between can analyze anywhere between 105 and 250 alerts a day. And the average mid-sized organization can have up to 5,000 alerts per day. So that alone, reducing that alert fatigue burden, is a significant advantage that an AI cybersecurity platform with AI can bring to the table. But I think the best use cases are those that show AI actually helps reduce that alert volume, especially in areas where they can correlate large number of signals into fewer, more meaningful incidents, right? So you don't have to look at 500 alerts. You can just look at 2 incident cases and be done with it, right? And I think that's one of the most valuable use cases a security platform can make to customers, which is improving quality of the signal extracted from massive volumes of data and allowing analysts to focus, or better yet, zero in on what actually matters.
So you explain, but I will ask you, where does the AI genuinely create measurable value in cybersecurity operations? Actually, you touched this point, but if you want to add something.
Yeah. Well, I would say that when we talk about measurable return on investment, right, on AI implementations, yes, I think it helps to ground the conversation specifically in outcomes, right? Just like we talked about, right? If you can measure those outcomes, it becomes very easy to assess whether your investment is delivering meaningful value or not. So I would say that in practice, the clearest place to evaluate return is often operational efficiency, especially in areas like alert triage, incident investigation, and incident reporting, right? Because if AI is working effectively the way it should be, you will as an organization, you will definitely see improved metrics in mean time to respond, mean time to detect, and speed at which your team is investigating and reporting incidents, right? The goal is for analysts to spend less time sorting through noise and more time focusing on incidents that actually matter, which are essentially being bubbled up through that noise by AI. And that shift should be visible through measurable results. I would also venture that AI can also improve how security operations scale, right? And that can also be something you can measure as a return. Think of it this way, or the way I think about it is, as organizations grow and add more endpoints or systems or services, alert volumes typically increase as well, right? So now without automation, that often means hiring more analysts. With AI, right, if you're using some sort of AI implementation, SOC teams can handle larger volumes without expanding their headcount at the same time, which means you're allowing the same team to manage more activity. I dare say that in some cases, AI even frees up some analysts, gives analysts more time to.
You are so polite. Yes, the diplomatic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gives analysts more time to focus on being proactive than just reacting to incidents. And I think that is what's important here, right? So I would also qualify this as successful AI return for a company, allowing your company, your AI SOC team to be proactive instead of just reacting to alerts and incidents.
As in more focused towards threat hunting, threat intelligence activities, rather than the
putting out fires.
Activeness. Yeah.
One thing, then, if you allow me to add to this one, because regarding the security perspective, you nail it. Like, this is amazing. But one subject that you mentioned, and a lot of people are not thinking about. Okay, your organization is growing, and you are adding new things. So, for example, if you think the companies that doesn't have a CN platform these days, they need to implement a CN. Usually it was a process. It will take years to implement a new CN technology, building parsers, building correlation rules, and adjusting everything. Now with AI, you can do this in months. So the efficiency of making these projects move forward, it's really like scaling in unproportional way. So it's a very impressive how you can achieve way better results with AI, and way quicker you get these results. So that's a good return of investment, because you're getting your projects done quicker.
And right, and that is actually one of the challenges of implementing AI, right? When you talk about it, it's important to separate the technical difficulty from the organizational complexity, because the organization can have SIM tools like EDR tools, SOAR tools, or even ticketing platforms, right? And adoption will actually suffer if no one internally will want to use AI with those tools, and you have to put them into some different tools.
Yep. From a measurable value, as you said, Livio and Marcos, from reactiveness towards the proactiveness, and this helps in most cases. It helps improving the maturity level of an organization, as with the same effort or with the same professionals, you can focus more towards advanced security protection mechanism or processes, such as, and these are concrete example in some of the accounts, there are, the AI is augmented with human effort in terms of triage and monitoring to from 54% towards up to 98%, which is a huge impact. And you might ask yourself, okay, but what's happening with the remaining of the time? Well, actually, that's exactly as you said, Marcos. Well, now you have more time in focusing on towards the maturity level. Okay, threat hunting, orchestration, more automation towards threat mitigation, and all that element that transforms the main points that you would want it to achieve. And that's why you wanted to start. And when it comes to measurable return of investment, when it comes to implementing AI solutions in cybersecurity, one of the interesting topics it becomes in regards to the optimization and rationalization, because now you have multiple tools from XDR, SIEM, security mail gateways, technologies in email and collaborations, to backup and storage, and each one of them has some limited or extensive AI capabilities, which might overlap with other features from other technologies. And this becomes an interesting use case of rationalization. And based on the experience that I'm having with certain organizations and certain customers, in some scenarios, the savings comes up to 30 or 40% of the technology stack. Like, you can see that 30-40% of technology stack is overlapped. And that doesn't mean that you do not need that type of features or investment. It means that you can decide maybe you need more effort towards governance, maybe on preparing for the NIS2 directive. And this is one of the crucial elements when it comes to the interoperability between AI from an rationalization perspective, as well as from an operational standpoint.
Yes,
just let me get some hook between the Mo reply and the Livio reply, because you mentioned the challenges regarding the AI and the documentation process, and we have all these tools. When you think about the challenge of AI, is exactly this lack of objective. You say, I want to implement AI, I want to implement AI. Okay, but to do what? Let's clarify what's the objective. What we are implementing with AI.
I will come later with a question in this manner, in this path. I feel that will not like you so much, but anyhow, just pay a little bit patient. Until then, I want to ask Mo. Mo, how do you measure the role of AI implementation in cybersecurity?
Well, Marcos just mentioned that. Let's begin with what is the objective? What needs to be rationalized? What needs to be optimized? What are the day-to-day activities or monthly activities that needs to be augmented and enhanced? Having that objective in mind, you can apply certain metrics to compare, from mean time to detect to mean time to resolve to the technology stack that you are utilizing with license consumptions, to efficiency in from an operational point of view. But at the end of the day, it comes towards objective. If you know the objective exactly, what you want to achieve, you know what might be the probable cost, and also you'll figure out the return of investment.
I would also add that objective and metrics are good, but it helps to have them to compare. It helps to compare them against something. So if you want to measure improvement, you also need to have a clear understanding of where you are right now and what you want to improve, so that you can understand if that has been improved with the help of AI. So perfect example would be if a single analyst spends an entire day going through, 300 alerts, after an AI implementation that boils everything down to just 2 cases a day, and the analyst just spends like 30 to 40, maybe an hour a day looking through what would otherwise be 250 alerts, then he has the rest of the day to do something else, something potentially more strategic, more operationally valuable to the company. So comparing what you want to achieve versus what you currently have, that should be in the plan for when you want to operationalize AI inside your infrastructure.
And so likewise from a platform management perspective, Marcos, as you already know, and you're spending most of your time on, and also from a reporting standpoint, from dashboarding, analytics, all that as well applies, Livio. Good point.
Yeah. And I guess I don't want to get ahead of everything, Mircea, but I guess the obvious follow-up question would be, is AI going to replace SOC analysts?
But this is the question for Marcos, not for you, please. Don't take my... Okay, anyhow.
So if you want me to replace,
just
I'm the dark knight here to replace AI, but no.
Starting in your favor, because SOC analysts will need AI, and AI will need SOC analysts. So
yes and no. So I will explain the both scenarios. Directly replacing the security analysts, definitely no. So you still need the security analyst to do the kind of, let's think about, when you're thinking of replacing the analyst, someone still needs to be the decision maker. Someone needs to be the leading of how will be the reaction process. So the tasks will be different. What this AI would replace is regarding manual labor of digging to tons of logs. But since these are enabling you to do more job with less effort, okay, you can have a smaller team. So direct replacement, no, but maybe indirect replacement, okay, instead of 10 people, I can do it with 4. So I can say, oh, I replaced 6 guys with AI, but actually I'm enhanced 4 to make the job that 10 usually was doing. So you still have these two sides. I'm still need analysts. I cannot replace them 100%, but in the other way, okay, I can do more things with less people.
Or the same amount of people.
Or with the same amount of people, but doing different works. But
Yeah,
that's
so
the dynamic change.
I totally agree. And this is a question that shows up a lot, right? Is AI going to replace SOC analysts? And my 2 cents is that no, it's not going to replace SOC analysts, at least not yet. But what I will say is that it will definitely change how SOC analysts spend their time, right? Because that's what we're talking about. It will change how how SOC analysts spend their time, because AI is very good at handling volume. Security teams deal with huge amounts of detection alerts and data every day, and a lot of it is either repetitive or it's just noise. And AI can go through all that noise and process the data and surface signal that actually deserves the attention of a SOC analyst. I think what actually changes is the nature of the SOC analyst role, right? Security professionals can focus on higher value work, like we talked about, instead of doing alert triage.
Yeah, someone need to take the decision. AI cannot take the decision for you.
Exactly.
AI
That's a
could
very
take the
valid
decision.
point.
Exactly. They can respond faster, be more efficient, be more focused, and essentially, yeah, make better, more informed decisions at speed. I think that's the factor here, at speed, right? I personally see AI as a tool that constantly evolves, but we currently still need the human expertise in the loop, and I don't see it fully replacing SOC analysts at any time soon. If anything, I see this as a division of strength, if you will. On the one hand, AI is great at handling data, but on the other hand, humans are great at decision-making, judgment, and investigation. So when you have the two working together, security operations become immensely more effective. So I'd say AI amplifies human capability rather than replacing it as a summary.
How much will empower the AI more?
Well, that's interesting, especially how Liv you've balanced that. And to add on that, I see here new roles emerging with this activity or this applicability of AI, especially on the cybersecurity space, but also in other domains, as this would mean new domain, which automatically means new risks, which opens up the question how the AI lifecycle security is going to be applied, how AI threat monitoring is going to be detected, what are the governance layer that needs to be included and implemented in order to mitigate AI risks, because that's still AI with data resiliencies, with data being handled, and that opens up many other questions. Where are the data? Where the data resides? Where? How is that being utilized? And let's remember that right now we have the European AI Act for the AI providers, for the AI deployers, the NIS AI risk management framework, and of course the OWASP top 10 for large language models, where you have to take care of the prompt injections, data leakage, insecure plugins, the training data poisoning, and the model of the denial of the services. So that opens a new roles for cybersecurity professional to play around. And we have even our colleagues here that research on that, they play around it and test it in other environments. So yeah, that's gonna be a good career path for many cybersecurity professionals going forward.
We have that joke like, who is monitoring the AI work? Yeah. So AI cannot monitor AI, right?
Yes, right. And in this in this path, I want to ask you just three of you to, you know, we are talking about NIS2, accountability, DORA, yes, GDPR, and in this manner, how should be addressed data residency concerns when deploying AI, and what governance controls are required when deploying AI in regulated environments? Mo?
Well, some of the frameworks that I've mentioned earlier and the regulations take that into the account, Mircea. That's a very good question in regards on how AI and governance controls are required before deploying AI. And one of the model governance is about the approval process, which needs to be defined. And in order to be defined, you need it to be assessed and tested. So the governance board can decide upon on this assessment. The second item would be around the model versioning, where you have to have controlled registries, change management process, and more importantly, rollback capabilities. And not at the end, some transparencies, at least from an internal organizational perspective, where you have documented architecture, processes on how AI is going to be applied, and it's going to be technically introduced, as well as the tracking methodology of the decision tree. So that means that you need to have the full process of the AI applicability, from assessment to approval to, as in the security spectrum, log management, like from the trackability of it. And at the end, how AI is going to take this decision, where there are decisions in regards to automated response, or the feedback loop that needs to be verified at the end of that. And here humans have the best
institutions, the assessment, or could be verified by whom? Something like this.
And that model governance needs to be applied internally from the organizational perspective. Yes, there are regulators that's gonna be that's gonna verify how that model is being applied. But most importantly, once you decide to apply and deploy AI within the organization, you need to have these measures in place. And you will see in the future new risks emerging on that, and new opportunities for cybersecurity professionals to mitigate that, to come with awareness around it, and to implement security controls around it.
Okay, Marcos?
Yeah, I think first we are not only talking about where the data is stored, but the whole chain of the data, from the input to the commission of the data. This whole thing needs to be secure. The second thing then, engineering perspective of thinking. The objective of AI, okay, I'm creating an AI chatbot to do some help with the customer on some website, or I'm trying to apply a large language model to the whole efficiency of the company, to they asking things to the AI. Because this will affect volumetric of AI. Because if I want a simple thing like a small chatbot, I can put some Llama 4 with a RTX 390 in a local server to be local stored in one small company. So this will be okay. This is way easier to secure, to isolate, to containerize, to do the whole local process. It's still expensive, but not in that large scale. But when I'm thinking in the big industry, okay, I want to apply a large language model in the big industry. I will need to find a local data center regarding the local regulations, to put local processing power with farms of NVIDIA or the GCP, depending on the language model that you are using, to process this data. The chain costs of this data need to be very strict, because you have the third-party reliability. So all of these things need to be taken in consideration when you are architecturing this whole AI implementation. So I think that's good to keep in mind.
Yeah,
Okay.
and if I may, there's been some excellent points being made. So just to highlight that we're all on the same page here, I really do think that data residency is really just part of a broader discipline, if you will, right? Which is managing the full life cycle of data with AI systems, right? Not just picking compliant cloud region. And I think, and I'm going to do a shameless plug here, and I'm going to have to apologize for it. I think this is where the AI control matrix from the Cloud Security Alliance steps in, because you all touched on some very interesting aspects of the matrix. And I think this becomes very useful, especially because it provides a very structured set of security, privacy, and safety controls, right, that were specifically designed for AI systems. I think it covers somewhere around 18 domains across the entire life cycle, AI life cycle. But what I love about the framework is that it encourages organizations to just look a little bit deeper than the infrastructure location, right? So instead of thinking our cloud region is compliant, companies are also encouraged to answer practical questions, right? Like, where does training data reside, right? Or how inference data is being handled, where prompts and outputs, right, are logged or deleted, or even questions like how encryption and key management enforce jurisdictional boundaries, because that's important as well. So yeah, to me, I think one of the biggest strengths of this matrix, I think that it clarifies something that we all agree on, which is shared responsibility, right? So AI systems often involve multiple actors, cloud providers, model vendors, orchestration platforms, internal application teams, and of course the organization operating the system, right? So I would say the framework helps define who's responsible for which controls across these layers, which is critical in regulated environments where governance gaps often stem from unclear ownership.
Okay, Livy, but can you share a concrete customer use case that demonstrates measurable improvement, and what tangible business result did the customers experience?
Right. So I come back to the example that I previously gave. I've been doing cybersecurity for decade and a half now. I'm going towards 2 decades now, and I always come back to if you want cybersecurity, if you are going to use an AI-powered cybersecurity platform, you're definitely going to see some measurable results in reducing mean time to detect, mean time to respond, and especially offloading some of those overburdened and overworked SOC analysts. And I think that is one of the most powerful use cases you can have specifically from a cybersecurity perspective, or a cybersecurity platform that leverages AI, because again, you're throwing people at a data problem when you can solve that data problem with AI. So I think that having that AI capability in a security platform and allowing people to just focus on really important things, that's the most powerful use case out there.
Okay, Mo?
Yeah, for me, and again, this is from a service implementation perspective and from organizational perspective when applying the transformation program and going through implementing or deploying new capabilities, either it is automation or AI, into the customer landscape. One of the precise use cases which gives some measurable return of investment, it comes towards, as we said, about the optimization, the rationalization of the technologies, but also applicability with the NIS2 directive where it applies. And I see them hand in hand. And how is that? You have the technologies around privileged access management, where data session recording, reporting about third-party supply chain activities, third-party vendors, third-party contractors are important for the NIS2 directive, as well as certain elements in regards to identity and access management, as well as the whole life cycle of the vulnerability management. And all that together, you have a use case where not only you've covered the efficiency of the people working from a people perspective, you're not only covering the process, the applicability of the process, but you also have a rationalization use case from a technology stack. And that's wonderful, even if also at the same time you might have, or you will have new risks, which needs to be also covered. And that's where it is important when starting this journey is asking the important question: what is the objective? What is the roadmap? And what are the problems that you need to solve or you want to solve? And from there, you have a nice journey with challenges, but in a good, positive way.
Okay, Marcos?
Yeah, I want to add a little bit of spiciness in this talk, because every time when we are saying about AI, how it's wonderful and how we can do a lot of things with AI and empower from the analysts as well, we are forgetting the size of, okay, the hackers are using AI as well. Let's say the hackers, like some script kids are using AI, so are getting more efficient attacks and more efficient ways of hiding themselves. So we need to be even better in detecting the things. So when we are applying to AI, you see this customer flood and drown it in alerts, and we reduce these alert fatigues, and we see real cases like, okay, I can start to see the things behind all this sea of false positives. I getting only the meaningful alerts. Now I see something they was only checked like medium and high severity alerts. Now we are able to check even informational ones, and based in this informational one that was still an alert, we find, oh, okay, this is an indication of compromise. And you start to digging in. You start to do the forensics behind it. And, oh, okay, this machine was actually compromised. This was extracting data. And you are checking this based in some informational severity report. Because they are better at hiding data as well. So you need to be even more specific about, more detailed in getting real incidents and real threats. And you have now this capability to investigate these real ones.
And if I may, you've touched on something very near and dear to my heart, how bad guys are using AI, which is, I don't think is something that most companies are actually aware of. But if you read any sort of threat research report, threat intelligence report out there, you'll notice that the time to exploit a vulnerability from proof of concept to mass weaponization has significantly reduced with the help of AI. Now, that doesn't mean that organizations cannot leverage AI as well for their own benefit. I've seen use cases where companies leverage AI to do code assessment, vulnerability bug hunting, and patching. So AI can also be a very powerful internal tool for vetting your own code, assessing your own code, finding vulnerabilities, and patching those vulnerabilities. And that can be also a very powerful use case for AI outside of the security space, like I just mentioned right now. So that's an excellent point, Marcos.
Yeah,
Thank you.
One of the things that we implemented exactly using AI, if you're thinking change manage, for example, no one thinking change manage as a security perspective. Everyone is thinking SOC, like incidents. No, I need to assessment the impacted in some changes, a product update, how this would affect the whole chain in the system, the whole production line. So, okay, AI can empower you even to do this kind of tasks. And this is related to the security as well. And you can do the patch management quicker. You can analyze the impact of changes quicker. So this is a lot of things that AI is empowering you, because you need to be more efficient, because the attackers are being more efficient as well.
Okay, Marcos, the manufacturing industries, OT environments are moving away, much better than me, from traditional gapped system towards to the directional internal and external communication, which introduce new security risks, like you said before. And what challenges arise when implementing AI in OT environments, and how can those challenges be mitigated to support compliance with NIS2 directive.
Yeah,
This question could be connected with another two questions: challenges in implementing AI, or how can AI help improve the maturity level of security in a company? But please feel free yourself to answer.
Yeah, so I will stretch this a little bit because this is a complicated thing. And first, I will start with what not do with AI in OT environment, because we know OT environment is something very sensitive. A lot of people, when we are thinking OT, they are thinking, oh, you're factoring something, you're producing something. No, thinking like energy lines, power plants, like floodgates. This is OT as well. And you are dealing with like nature, human lives in this kind of environment.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So first thing, AI doesn't take decisions. You cannot like delegate AI to take decisions for you. Decision making still need to be by a human being. AI can inform you how to take better decisions. AI can enhance you how to get more data and better data to take these decisions. But the decision still need to be done by human. What AI can do, help you to improve the process.
Yeah,
Okay.
and to complement Marcos, because I know where he's coming from and how he describes that based on existing services and projects. Implementing AI in the OT spectrum is different than the IT. It's not similar, and that's why Marcos is saying about the decision making, because that's one of the main mistakes where you treat OT as an IT. OT, the primary constraint is not the model accuracy. It's about the safety, as Marcos said, and about the operation of physical processes that applies here. Also to mention that even NIS 2.0 framework has some recommendation in that regard, and NIS 2 directive, it requires that cybersecurity measures in the OT spectrum to be risk-based oriented. That's very important. And it's a higher difference than in the IT spectrum. While in IT, and here is the big difference between the two, in the IT, you are focusing more towards the aggressively on the blocking, on the autonomous containment, on the frequency of the AI model that would help you with orchestration, automation, investigation, and response. Here in the OT spectrum, you would want more decision from a human element, because first, you take into consideration the safety. That's very important.
Okay,
the safety of the people around the OT environment, the environmental safety, and the business stream, the line of the business, that otherwise it would be disrupted. And this is one of the main challenges. And that's why in existing projects and services, especially with the Stefanini AI, the SAI, we are using it as an augmented measure for analysis, for risk prioritization, with heavily with human decision making when it comes to the OT specifically. And but I'm looking forward for Livius, your opinion on that, or your
expertise,
your view.
Well, what I can share is my biggest nightmare. So my biggest nightmare around AI systems across OT environments is having an AI system that expands or that sits on top of both IT and OT systems at the same time. Can you imagine an AI system interacting with both IT and OT at the same time, and how easily it would be affected by risk like data manipulation or leakage if somebody interacts with that AI system and can pivot from from the IT and the OT infrastructure at the same time, and essentially expands on the attack surface for the OT infrastructure. That is my biggest nightmare, and I'm glad you guys have considered all the risks in making sure that an OT implementation of IE system is treated completely different than an IT AI implementation. So yeah, that's the way it should be done.
Okay, I saw that no questions in the chat, so nobody are curious to address questions to the speaker. So, Marcos, Mo, and Livio, final thoughts, one phrase, one message for the audience. We start with Marcos, after Mo and Livio.
Yeah, so I think my final message is regarding don't be afraid of AI, but AI is a tool, is not an end. It's like you're hiring an employee and throwing in the factory floor and saying, work. Okay, but to do what? He needs to have a clear objective, clear instructions, clear function, what he needs to do. And AI is the same thing. AI is a tool. AI enables people, but it's not an end product. Let's put AI in everything. No, AI is a tool, need to be clear objective and clear instructions. But don't fear AI.
Okay, Mo?
Yeah, well, Marcos covered from the AI objective and implementation perspective. I would mention it from the, and we've discussed a lot during this webinar, more targeted towards organizations that have to implement AI, that is deploying AI, with the executive taking certain decisions. I would look at also from the career opportunity perspective for the new joiners in cybersecurity spectrum, for the students that want to get into cybersecurity. And similarly to Marcos, they shouldn't be afraid of that. That's open a new domain, a new professional career in this area, which allows them to develop new skills that will be needed. Really, actually, it's already needed. So that's my my message: to embrace it and to work towards reducing the risks associated with it as well.
Livio?
Yeah, so if there's one takeaway when implementing AI that I would love everybody to leave with after this webinar is expectation management, right? So AI is, AI is often marketed as autonomous, as transformative. But bottom line is AI, it's probabilistic and context dependent, right? It can prioritize, summarize, detect, but it still requires human oversight. I'm not saying the value isn't real. The value is real, but it's operational. It's not magical. It won't solve all your problems, but it will help you do things faster.
Understand. You let me summarize, yes? So I'll use one phrase: never trust, always check. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Zero trust framework, yeah.
Zero trust framework, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you so much to the participants, to our guests, and hoped that will come another professional webinar after this one, based on the feedback that we'll receive it. And just let me wish all of you lovely good afternoon, and how to say, to use AI wisely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.